Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to break down another trade that we took both live on the Twitch streams as well as alerted and traded live in the Discord group. This is a great trade that we took on the long side on the SPX, SPY, whatever you want to call it. The same trade could have applied to the NASDAQ, but we decided to trade SPX today. And it was a great trade, pretty much a never hit drawdown. We were up through the whole trade. The first three PTs got hit quick, and then the runners eventually hit later on the day after a nice pullback. So let's break down first, why I was feeling bullish for the day, why I looked for this long setup, and what was the setup overall. As always, we got to start our days or our trades on the daily bias. What was the daily bias? Very similar as the last week. The daily bias was bullish. The reason it was bullish, we especially on the SPY more here. I show just on the QQ and SPY more. We entered this fair value gap on the daily, the halfway mark of the fair value gap. We entered in the pre-market, so expecting a bounce, especially after a big red day. We had another gap down. Sellers were more than likely going to be exhausted, and as you guys can see, we also had a level of support from a previous breakout area. This was both on the QQ and SPY. Now on the SPX 500, you don't show that because it's charted a little bit different. But we did gap right into this area of support here, and the fair value gap was filled the previous day. So the fair value gap was only on the indexes. Well, they're all indexes, but you guys know what I'm trying to fucking say. On SPX 500, though, you did gap right into the support area, so we knew we were in a support area. I know, sure, the trend is down, but why would you take a short position after a big gap down and you're sitting in a support area, right? It doesn't make sense. So I'm looking for bounce because, right, I can have my stop losses being tight and my reward can be pretty decent. Now I'm just looking for those intraday and hourly um, signs that we are going to go up. So we had the support area run out. We took it out in the pre-market on the hourly. And also, I like to put on the hourly. You can see a little bit of the seller slowing down because look, I mentioned this in the chat room. You can see the big selling, big selling. Now the moves up are matching the selling moves up, matching the selling move. So you're just seeing the selling and the moves up are getting much closer, showing you signs that the sellers are getting, they're slowing down. They're not as aggressive as they were here, where you're getting no bounces. And whenever you have a huge moves downs like this, right, that's when you don't want to try to buy every dip because you see that there's no buyers present. But now you're starting to see the buyers up here, indicating that should be a bounce coming up soon. Could have just sold off more? Sure, they could have, but I didn't like the risk reward. At the end of the day, we all about the risk reward. So this was the hourly. Let's go now on the 5 minute time frame. On the 5 minute, what did we make? At the market open was 9:30, right around this area. Where we entered right around exact time that we entered was, I'll give you guys exact time, pull it up, at 9:35. So we entered right on this secondary 5 minute candle. I'll go down 3 minutes so we can see a better exact entry. So we saw this pre-market and 9:15 candle creating a fair value gap that we came down to retest on this 9:33 candle, giving us the indication that if you bounce it and you held it, right, uh, you feel those imbalance and you're looking to go up. So we enter on the next candle that confirmed that. So this, we got the bounce. Now we enter on a 5 minute, but the 3 minute gives you a better picture on the smaller time frame. So we enter on the confirmation of that, holding this with the stop loss being right below this candle, or if you want to be a little more aggressive, you can always go one candle lower, so below this. So it's up to how aggressive you want to be. So we entered and quickly we got a nice push higher. 2 points that I was looking at that could have been two major resistances was this little bit of liquidity here above this previous high for the pre-market. I was worried that potentially you could have gone up and then wicked and then go back down. So that was the first level we were looking at. In this case, you saw actually holding a support twice and then bouncing higher, and as well as this fair value gap here. And then next major level was this liquidity level here, which actually was a area where a lot of people did short and it gave a nice move down. Now I held my summer position. I did take profits along the way, but I did hold my position even though we did have this area here. And the reason being is because once I'm in, and especially if I had a nice entry, I take profits and have my runners. I like to let the market do its thing. I like to let the market. So if I'm in an expansion phase, what's next, right? We got the big expansion phase. It's a pullback phase, right? So I know that's part of the market cycle, and it should give me another expansion. I made a video about the market cycles. Make sure you go watch that. That explains it all. So I know that I'm looking for areas where tool. So if the pullback phase should come down to either the golden pocket one, which this case did, an order block or a fair value gap, something that comes down, retests, bounces, and goes higher. In this case, it was a combination of two. We had both an order block right here and the fair value gap, which it came down to. There's also the fair value gap right here. Golden pocket and order block. And there's also this fair value gap here, which did have a small bounce in, but it did come retest the lowest level. And I told the stream and the chat, I was like, hey, as long as we hold right into this area, pretty much from the point 0.5 to the golden pocket, I'm gonna hold my runners. The reason being was they will still be in the green. I'll let them come back down to break even and then close them out. But if the market is still holding the structure of a bullish structure, I don't want to close them. You can see that played out. We come back to the order block. This was a great secondary entry that a lot of people did take. And then moved up to give us our last target, which was 4,331, pretty much 430.5. The reason why I chose this as being my last target was this the last fair value gap that was in premium from the big move. So anything that's past halfway mark is the fair value gap. Now you have 1, 2, 3, 4 on the small time frame, but if you go to the 15, right, you see there's only one, and then there's two, right? And I'm always going to lean as my last target, the one that's above it. So if there's one, I'm always going to leave it for the second one. As you can see right now, this is playing in real time. Pretty nice point to take profits. Look at this, candle hit, and that's rejecting. So that's the halfway mark of the second that's in premium. So you have one premium, second premium. That's the second one. Now there is a chance that you could go for the liquidity up right here. The reason why I'm not really looking for that, because I mean, if I was taking a swing, sure, maybe. I just don't think that's probably gonna happen today. It might happen tomorrow or really late in the day when I'm not gonna be trading. And I think about my trades as in, I like to trade between 9:30 and not really go past 12. So I want to keep my trades within that time area. And also here, there's not a ton of liquidity because as you guys can see, the difference between, let's go to a different day, when the market sold off pretty hard right here on this day. Let me show you the difference with that and here. So when the market sold off here, there you go. Remove all drawings. SPY, because I remember taking on the SPY. So let's look at the difference of when the market sold off 2 different days. So you guys remember on Friday. So this was Friday right here. What's Friday? Friday 9 a.m. Friday. There you go. Friday 9 a.m. So the difference on why this sold off higher. So we had going up the whole time. So the difference between this here versus this here. You can see when we come here and test this previous liquidity, you have one, you have this other area here, and then you have multiple areas that you're touching. With this one, you have just about one area. So you have this one area, and you do have this secondary area either, maybe this third one, but it just doesn't look when something is so like just one wick up. I usually never look at this as a liquidation area, like where there's gonna be liquidity sitting. Because the when you have a V shape like this, and I made a video. If you go watch my liquidity video, I explain that really well. Here I'm kind of going off of sidetracked here. But when you see a wick up like this, a V shape, that was means that liquidity was taken, right? The liquidity does not get created on a wick up. The wick is up are what's taking liquidity area. So you had liquidity from here, which is probably a fair value up on the 15 minutes, right? So right here, you see there's a fair value up right here. So that once liquidity gets taken, there shouldn't be any more liquidity there. So I don't think the market is trying to target this high to take out the liquidity and then come back down because I'm not expecting there to be any liquidity, right? So that's why I'm not looking for this to be the target, but rather it was this was going to be the high. Again, this is on SPY and on SPX 500. So that explains my profit target levels, why it was here versus being this very top right here. This liquidity has already been taken from this previous day fair value gap. And yeah, this is a trade. This is the PT. There was a stop loss. Pretty fucking nice trade. Let's see what the R to R was. So we enter around right here. Our top target was right here, 2030. Stop loss was right below this low. Nice 1% risk reward. So tell me if that's not a fucking good trade. And look at the exit right towards the top, right? So hope you learned something. If you did, go and trade line with me every single day. Come to tune in the free Twitch streams or come tune in the private Discord. Use code stream at checkout and get a nice 25% off. Other than that, peace.